Sixers have one of the great
I started playing basketball 11 years ago.
With the third pick in the 2014 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Joel Embiid.
And he doesn't play for 2 whole seasons.
Tonight, the much-anticipated, long-awaited debut of Joel Embiid.
And down it goes for his first NBA hoop.
Made that one look easy.
I'm telling you, this young fella is going to be great for a long time to come.
I'm the big Joel fan. I think he can be the best big man ever.
Embiid jams! Look out below!
He's a franchise player. Oh, yeah. There's no question about that.
The exciting part for me is he has only scratched the surface. It's generational.
41 for Embiid. Go Embiid detonates on Westbrook and stares him down.
Hakeem Olajuwon type footwork.
For the first time since 2012, the Sixers will win a playoff series.
What a show by the second-year pro, Joel Embiid.
You can't teach this. It's a big guy with skills.
They're building a dynasty there.
He has a unique ability to change his league and make the whole league adapt to him.
Tatum, blocked by Embiid.
Embiid throws it down with a season-high 38.
Felt that freight train is coming.
Embiid upside is still at a point where we don't know how good he can really be.
I honestly believe if Joel
JJ!
the way he's growing, he'll be the best player that I've ever played with.
His game is unbelievable.
Some of the fans sensing a possible career high. Yes!
A lot of times you hear crowds talk about MVP. Well, he is in that conversation.
Embiid, yes sir, you deserve these chants.
It's good! Embiid trifecta!
3 bucks on him and nobody can stop Joel Embiid. You're voting MVP, you going Embiid?
Got it.
Yeah, I agree.
The Sixers have one of the great players in the NBA in the middle of his prime.
Did you ever think Embiid would be what he is now?
Yes.
The MVP race is over. Joel Embiid.
Joel Hans Embiid.
Being the MVP of the best basketball league in award. That's the biggest award you can get.
To hear that an African is the best basketball player on the planet, it's gonna be amazing for the whole continent.
Oh, what's up, Philadelphia sports fans? Welcome to this special afternoon edition of War Room Philly. I am Anthony Pinto, currently buying time until the press conference, which every time I check it, it said it's at 11:15, right? But every time I look, it's like, oh, it's a half hour, and then it'll be like 28 minutes, and then I'll go back, and it's like, oh, it's a half hour. So, who knows? But we are here, and I was waiting around for the MVP press conference, and then Shams just drops the bomb, and I couldn't wait around any longer. I just simply could not wait around. So here we are live for the first time of 2 shows today. We'll be on later tonight, 7 to 8. for a pregame show as well. And we can do some, if we talk a lot of hoops now, we can maybe get in some Eagles talk later. I'll be solo, it looks like, for that show as well. So we can go through and just break down some video of some of the new picks and things like that. I want to specifically go through something with it. Maybe we'll do it this afternoon. We'll see how long this press conference is, but I want to at some point go through some tape and show some things that I'm seeing, because in particular, I think some of the fans are going to like what I saw out of the Stanford quarterback. Because I watched his tape and he looks like a Nick Foles clone. And I think that the Eagles might have their cheap backup of the future with that. So I think it's a decent pick. It wasn't a pick for need, but if he works out and he sticks around and can be a Coy Detmer, where it's just a cheap backup and you can put him in, then, it is what it is. But we'll talk some Eagles draft. I'd like to do that. And again, maybe we'll do that tonight. But right now, I mean, we didn't even talk about Bryce Harper's return, because there's a different MVP in town. Finally! You saw that video. All I'm looking at through that video is two things. One, how the hell is this his first MVP? Two, that's a lot of championships not won. That's a lot of money left on that table. And I'm hungry. As a fan, I'm hungry. But Shams drops the bomb, and Embiid is in. He's going to play tonight. And here's the thing I'll say about Embiid. No, and Doc Rivers maybe in particular, this might have to be where he makes a tough call, but know when to check out. I don't need Embiid to play 45 tonight. I need him to play 30 strong, 35 really strong minutes. So in particular with Embiid, who hasn't ran in 9, 10, like maybe 2 weeks almost at this point. For him, I'd like to just kind of take a break, and if you're gassed, check out, man, because you have Paul Reed, you have PJ Tucker, who proved in game one that they can prove serviceable in that role. We need someone serviceable. We don't need is playing 4v5 because you're standing back at the 3 and you're kind of checked out for more than one possession at a time. And what we more need is you on defense, but we need you engaged on defense. I think if there was one thing that was truly, truly missed that game, it was Embiid's defense. And I think, if anything, when you see things like that, it's like, man, you kind of get a feel for how good Embiid is defensively. Because offensively, we all know what this guy is. Offensively, we know he's going to put up anywhere from 20 to 50 or more. He's going to get you probably close to 10 rebounds or more. And he's going to get you a handful of assists because he kicks it out to a wide open 3. I would say about 5 assists a game. I actually don't have his numbers, we can look them up. But I mean, you know what you're getting out of Embiid offensively. But I think a lot of people, because the numbers aren't there defensively, you forget how good and how much of a presence Joel Embiid is defensively. And for 3 years, it's been why I've said he's better than the Joker anyway. Forget, because the stat, triple doubles because he gets more passes. But, I would argue that Embiid, look at the amount of points that he puts up over Jokic. And look at the amount of clutch shots, threes, dribbles, ins. At the end of the game, who's got the ball in their hand? It's Murray, right, for Denver, and it's Embiid. Even with James Harden, it's Embiid at the end of the game with the ball 9 times out of 10, which I actually sometimes disagree with, as much of a fan as I am of Embiid's. But again, I got the page up. We're going to wait along. I'm going to just kind of keep talking. I'm hoping that you guys decide to watch here instead of in there. I'm going to keep mostly quiet during the thing, but I'll kind of just chime along and give my reactions too. And, we'll kind of just talk with the press conference. But I'm certainly going to shut up a lot more. I got a nice, fresh second cup of coffee as we had an early interview today. But yeah, you know, it's it's good. Now it says it's 2 minutes away, so it looks like we'll be starting more on time than not, which is good. Sorry that apparently some Guardians of the Galaxy stuff was playing. But yeah, I mean, this was it was great, and seeing how emotional Embiid got hit me in the feels. And again, a guy that, what's on my back? The Process, my gamer tag, his nickname. A guy that again, I don't want to pull. We got a different cam setup now. I don't know if you noticed, but I got it on top of my monitor now that I moved the monitor closer for when I'm playing Switch. We got the Joel Embiid mouse pad. Like, we got the jersey hanging in the rafters right now. You guys know, you got all the gear too. Like, I said it in my tweet. I'm not rare in being a diehard Joel Embiid fan. Philadelphia, the Delaware Valley, the U.S., the continent, the world is filled with them. I'm not in a rare breed by saying, oh, I'm a Joel Embiid diehard. Like, it's not a flex. It's more of, this is us as a community. And all of us as diehard Joel Embiid fans, it's okay to kind of be chesty today. And the fact that he's going to be playing tonight makes your team better. Imagine going into Boston going 2-0. We'll see. We'll see. And I think a big part of it tonight is Embiid can't play 40 just to say he played 40. I'd rather him play 30 minutes 100% engaged than 40 minutes or 45, 75% engaged. Because we saw last game that you can play Paul Reed, you can play PJ Tucker, and they can serve. But you need Embiid in. I'm not saying you can win without him. You need him in, but you need him engaged. I saw in Game 3 of that Brooklyn game, Murph, you could probably, if you remember, you could attest to it. I said in that Brooklyn Game 3, there was times where it felt like Embiid was hurting us because he was just disengaged. He was hanging, and Game 3 was the game he got hurt in. So let's say, I'm not just dissing him for you know, I wasn't even dissing him. I was just saying he needs to be engaged or he needs to get out there. I kind of saw in Game 3, I thought he was hurt, and we found out afterwards he was. But, you know, as far as, that's why tonight I want an engaged Embiid. If you're not engaged, it's cool, man. Pull out. We'll work you back in. Let's, you know, maybe at the end of the game, that's where you'll have to really start pushing it. But at least work yourself into this. You haven't ran in about 2 weeks. So we need an engaged Embiid. With whatever minutes he's out there, he's just got to be engaged. And we get the MVP back. What up, chat? What up? I mean, not chat. What up, Joe? I see you in chat. Yeah, let's not talk about the Kraken thing. I think, did you say a sweep, though? I couldn't remember this. You did say they'd win, though. And hell of a series. We got a lot of really good first-round series in both NBA and NHL. I mean, the Heat taking down a 1 seed is incredible. Again, it has a bit of an asterisk next to it because Jimmy Butler is not an 8 seed. Any team that Jimmy Butler on isn't an 8 seed. And then, you know, Giannis being hurt. But still, incredible feat for the NBA of all things. You never see an 8 seed take down a 1 seed. So that's incredible. You had one of every seed, 1 through 8, in the second round of the playoffs for the NBA. And then the NHL, you had the Panthers come back and take down the Boston Bruins, who had the best regular season record of all time. Yeah, it's been really good. It's been really good. But yeah, Sixers in 5. I hope you're right, Joe. I've been feeding off your positive energy. So we're just rolling with it, man. We're just going. We're all in right now. It's again. Oh, you know what? I screwed up. It might be on. Alright, I don't see anyone on that. Let me keep it out, though. You gotta, like... Did the Philadelphia 76ers not have a YouTube chat. What about NBC Sports Philly? It looks like we're still in the waiting period. I have two different things up. Yeah, so it doesn't look like we got it yet. Let's close these windows. Let's refresh this. It says it's live at 11:15. Then again, remember, this site that was saying it kept going back, like they knew something more maybe. But I got it up on like the Sixers official link, and I got it up on NBC Sports Philly YouTube. We're going to watch along together. So I'd sit Embiid tonight. If he's medically available to play, I play him. But again, I need him engaged. So if he's like, and I'm not saying this to diss him, if he's huffing and puffing and he can't give it 100%, just check yourself out. Get either Tucker or Reed involved and let them rotate in. Get yourself back into game position, game conditioning, because it's the hardest thing to do is to get yourself in NBA conditioning. These guys are running for 45 minutes. I know all the memes are beautiful about, they fall down and soccer injuries and hockey tough guys like love to diss it, but I'm like, it's, they're two different sports. Hockey, toughest, maybe all around athletic players in all of sports, but they're out there for 32 seconds and then they shift off. 45, 32 to a minute 32 is like the average hockey shift. So their conditioning is different than of an NBA player, and then an NBA player isn't taking like a stick to the face every 15 minutes too. So there's a level of toughness and grit that like, and NHL players are crazy, and I mean that in the best way possible. They're sick in the head. NHL, I might have said NBA. I mean NHL. If I misspoke, NHL players are the sick ones. In particular, defensemen, which I may or may not have played at a very, 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 very low level. So I never blocked a shot. I'd send Embiid tonight, though. Yeah, I double read that, but I just go back to let's make sure he's 100% engaged. That's all. But you can't take any games, any playoff games for granted, especially against Boston. But yeah, to your point, Joe. Again, before I go on any rants, I'm going to refresh. I'm going to make sure that I am not missing anything for you guys. But before any, but I think Boston, it felt a little lax. I think that the team felt off that misery from the Bruins the night before. There was a kind of dead energy in the air at the is it still the TD Bank Garden, whatever. It's not Madison Square Garden. It was always like the other garden to me, the Boston Garden. That's what it's called. Continue it though. Again, and that's why we got audio from something. Sounds like we're getting ready. Chat. I don't want to turn the volume all the way off because I don't want to miss this on in the YouTube. Okay, it looks like. Let me see.
Dave, I hear you, dude. Yeah.
So you guys see and hear what I see and hear. It's I don't know which one is going to be like the better feed. I always trust YouTube better than like a video platform, but I'm literally kind of watching both of them right now. We'll go from there. We just got some weird talking in the background, as you can hear. Kind of sus, kind of sketch. But yeah, it's I honestly, after last year, I never thought Joel Embiid was going to win an MVP. And I'll stand by my words. Last year was still more impressive than this year. Not that this year wasn't impressive. He should have been the 3-time MVP. He's been the best player for 3 years in the league. Year 2, last year, out of that 3-year span, in my opinion, was the most MVP of the MVP years because of the Ben Simmons situation. And the fact that that team last year was, a 1 seed without a point guard throughout the first half of the season, and it felt like MVP voters just acted like James Harden was a part of this team all year, and because was it Murray that got hurt for Denver? Because he was gone, they gave him Jokic this like big layup, if you will, and they're like, oh, like he had to. But it's like we missed someone the whole first year too. We missed someone the whole first year too, so it was a little frustrating. But here's the big man. Here's the big man. MVP. Give me some claps in chat. Give me some claps in chat.
What's up, Joe? Initially, well, congratulations, and just your thoughts on getting the award.
Well, thank you. It's amazing. Feels good, obviously. That's something that I dreamed of, and I've always wanted. Especially when I started, playing basketball. That was always the goal. And, obviously there's other goals and stuff, but, this is just one step to whatever I want to accomplish, which is, to win championships. And, we're right there, so it felt pretty good.
For a follow-up question, I guess I was there like when they first drafted you,
Weird flex. I was there when they first drafted you.
Then you break your foot. Then you miss the following year. And there's also that time where your brother passed away, right? And you were thinking long and hard about giving all this up and going back home. And, I think this is a testament to perseverance, sticking it through, and now you're the MVP when you were actually thinking about giving up basketball.
I've always said it. I feel like my life is a movie. You look at the way, obviously, starting playing basketball at 15, and not really know. I mean, the whole goal was to just when I got the chance to come to the U.S. was really to come get a degree and find a way to get a job because I didn't think basketball would take me anywhere. So with everything that's been happening, obviously losing my brother was a big part of it. To almost leading me to quitting basketball, not wanting to come back because I felt like it was kind of my fault because I left Cameroon, I left my family, and I felt like I should have been there to do something, and that was also at a period where there was a lot of dark times, missing two years because obviously the foot and everything going on.
See, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. It's my guy,
outside
man.
of basketball, it was tough, but I'm just glad that I pushed through it, and I'm here sitting in front of you guys, having accomplished something that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to. It's hard. It's hard to win in this league.
Kobe Bryant only won, one MVP?
In this league. There's a reason why, these are the best basketball players in the world. And to be sitting here and, feel like, I won something as far as, the most valuable player is great. But then again, he's also part of my story because I've always felt like I was a role model, and especially to my Cameroonian people and my African people. And I feel like, just looking at my story, that's, they can look at it and be like, wow, he did it. Probably the probability of someone like me, starting playing basketball at 15, to get the chance to be the MVP of the league is, I'll say probably -0. Yeah, with all the opportunities that, we don't have a lot of opportunities back in, in Africa in general to get to this point. But, improbable doesn't mean impossible. And, you can accomplish anything you set your mind to as long as you believe in it and, you keep working hard, anything can happen.
True.
Joel, you mentioned those dark times. Since then, where do you feel like you've grown as a person?
I'll say the biggest key of it is obviously, it's all about family. I don't talk about it a lot. My son, I would say, is probably the biggest part of it. My parents, they've been here, from the beginning. I'm still kind of pissed at my dad because he didn't let me start playing basketball until 15. Who knows what I could have been if I had started earlier, but he made the right decision. Everything happens for a reason. My mom, she doesn't really care about all of this. She just wants me to be healthy and, be able to, do what I love. So that being a big part of it. And then obviously my family, fiance, Arthur, like I said, he's the, obviously losing my, my brother and, I think, and then giving his name to my son meant a lot. And he's, my son is, the reason why I'm really sitting here because I just, when I found out, we were having a kid, I just remember I was like, I gotta be a great role model and I gotta set a good example. I want him to understand that, his dad not only was pretty good, but he also worked hard and he went and, took everything he wanted. So he's one of the reasons why, like, my whole mindset just changed. Everything about me just changed. The way I went about my business, my life, everything just changed because I just wanted to be a great father, set a good example, and then obviously there's been a lot of people along the way. If I start going through names, we're gonna be sitting here for a long time, but so they know who they are. I mean, Drew, Kim, the Talon family that were a big part of, my rehab. When I got to the league, that really took care of me. It's a lot of people. I got a lot of, may seem like I don't have a lot of friends, but I do have a lot of friends. Like I said, that know who they are. My guys from LA. I won't go through names. There's a lot of people, but a lot of people have helped me get here. It would not be possible without those people. They've sacrificed a lot for me. But story's not over. I don't want to say, but it's baby steps. To get.
He wants that ring, baby. He wants that ring, baby, and so do we.
Through these years of the process, to trying to get these opportunities, and I think a lot of credit goes to the fans also because they've been so supportive, from the beginning. Showing up to games, even though there were seasons where we won 10 games and EB hanging a banner in the locker room. I remember being pissed about it because my name was up there and I had nothing to do with it because I'm just not a loser. I hate losing. But we went through a lot, whether it's the burner accounts.
The burner, he brought up Colangelo! He brought up Colangelo in the burner
There's a lot that has happened that we had to go through. And
MVP!
MVP! Always been supportive.
MVP!
And, like I said yesterday,
yo, fuck Brian Colangelo.
This is it's not just, for me. My teammates, the whole organization.
Fuck the NBA for
fans,
essentially assigning him to us, too.
Everybody played a big part of it.
Sorry, I'm trying to shut my mouth.
You've talked a bunch about how you don't care about winning this award. We saw your way emotions went through you last night. You talked about how you dreamt about doing this. I was curious, what has been the thing that's stood out to you about why this matters so much to win this award?
I think a lot of people have this misconception of the difference between being competitive and wanting to win everything possible. I don't want to win this award because it's just the MVP. I want to win it because it means a lot to me. Like I said, I went through a lot, and that's just a validation of that. Everything, the sacrifices and everything you went through, is paying off in some ways. And, obviously winning a championship is going to be way better and we have that opportunity. But, I'm just competitive. I want it all. I want to win everything that I can get my hands on, and everybody around me knows that. It doesn't matter if it's about basketball or if you're playing a game, in life or whatever. I want to win everything. I want to be first, and like I said. Now, I know I've always said I don't care, but it was just for you guys to leave me alone and not ask me questions about it. But, I do care in a way that it means that, I just, you validates, like I said, validates everything, all the work that you put in, and just to be sitting here is just, is amazing.
Remember, he said anyone that says they don't care is lying, too.
For everybody back home. You're the first person to win MVP who came from a BWB camp. I was curious, especially given your late start and, kind of getting your first chance there. I was curious what it means to you to be able to be kind of a trailblazer in that regard, and as part of showing people that they can accomplish things, to be the first person to do that.
Oh man, that's I didn't even know. That's pretty crazy. And like I said, improbable doesn't mean impossible. A lot of us don't get these opportunities to come to the U.S. and get to go to high school and go to college and have a chance, to be on an NBA roster, let alone being an all-star. I was talking to, Luke is another big part of why I'm sitting here because he gave me, these opportunities, and it's like, oh man, it's crazy. Like we were just talking about the whole journey of, what it took for me to be here, and he just feels amazing. And like I said, being a role model, and mainly to my African people, that's the best of all, because I want us to succeed. For us to usually achieve something, we have to work, twice as hard as everybody else. And I want them to understand that, yeah, we can do it. It's possible. You just gotta be a little lucky, But it's possible if you get these opportunities, you gotta just keep going.
Really humble of him to still say that he was lucky through all this.
Quick, obviously, just went through shoot around.
He's really
how are you feeling
he's
coming
still
out of
pretty
that?
humble.
And how do you feel about tonight? And how have the last couple of weeks been? Given I know you spent
now we're
the
talking
season
basketball. There
hoping
we
to
go.
not have to be in a situation where you're playing through an injury like this and missing time during the playoffs.
Yeah, it's tough. But like I said, my life is a movie. Everything happens for a reason. Every single year, always, something freaky happening, and that's okay. That's another challenge on the way to, getting to where I want to. And obviously it's hard dealing with another injury, and but when something like that happens, you gotta about a day to kind of be sad and whatever, and it's time to go back to work and rehab and trying to make sure you do everything possible to be able to get back on the floor. So obviously it's earlier than we thought, considering what I had, but I'm just glad to be able to go up and down, and kind of see how it feels. So we're just gonna take day by day and see how it feels and go from there.
Okay, so just to clarify, is it still up in the air if you will go tonight, or what are you expecting for tonight's game? And then I have a real question, I promise.
It's a possibility, just like it was a possibility in the first game. But I'm gonna listen to those guys and see what they have to say, the doctors, and obviously I want to play. Everybody knows me. I just love being on the court and I love to play. So there's a possibility, and I got the green light, and then we're gonna go ahead. But like I said, we're just gonna talk about it.
That's
but
him playing cards. He's out there tonight.
Just like I felt about the game, last game, I felt like we had a huge opportunity and that we were gonna win. And tonight, whether I play or not, I believe in those guys. Anything can happen, and I think we got a huge chance to win the game.
And then just broader speaking, we've obviously seen the statistical jumps, the numbers you've put up the last couple of years, but when teammates talk about you, they often talk about your leadership strides, and I know that's kind of an intangible thing that can be hard to quantify, but how have you, over the last couple seasons, maybe kind of made a concerted effort to be more of a leader? How have you gone about doing that? Because knowing your personality too, it kind of maybe seems like it might have been a little unnatural for you at times.
I think when it comes to leadership, I don't think that's something that I really push to be. I remember having conversation with Coach Brown about what kind of leader I should be and what kind of leader I want to be. And he offered me a couple examples. Obviously, he has a lot of history in the game of basketball. Obviously being around the Spurs and Tim Duncan, and how they used to go about their business. And it took me a while to kind of figure out how I wanted to lead. Obviously, everybody's different. I'm not gonna be the guy to just go out and yelling at people or be all hype and all that stuff. That's just not my personality. But the way I can do it is, by pushing my teammates in a positive way and sometimes in a negative way, just to get a reaction out of them. Because it's all about studying, guys too. Some guys, you want to be as positive as possible, and some guys
Ben Simmons
can be a little bit negative, and they're gonna take it and they're gonna want to be better. And that's
probably
that's
Maxey.
I actually like when people are negative. I like when you guys tell me that I can do something or I can accomplish something, because I'm gonna go out there and the file on that and show you that I can do it. So I think over the years I just found a way to just kind of relate more.
Well, then by that nature, Embiid, and I love you, you can't stay healthy. Prove me wrong.
As far as whether it's
that's my dude. I hate saying things like that.
Dinner, I just hate restaurants and stuff. So that's not me. But sometimes I do it. But I think the guys around me, they've also been extremely helpful. They've allowed me to just be myself, and then also, just, take me as I am. And, that's been great. And, Tyrese is a guy that I would probably put in the position of just understanding me and understanding that, if I'm going to, criticize him, it's probably
so I was right when I said Maxey.
Because I want him to be better. Some other guys, in the past, I don't know.
Ben Simmons!
Might have, took that criticism as like, oh, he's mad, something, he has
Ben
a
Simmons.
problem with me. But no, it's not me. I want to win.
Ben Simmons.
And I can't win alone, and I need all of them, and they do understand it. So I think that's why this team is, is different and special.
Because there's no Ben Simmons.
Joel, there was an interesting video posted last night of you finding out the news and your reaction. It seemed like you let a lot of emotion release, and one of the more poignant moments in the video was James Harden coming over, a former MVP and a guy who's been in your shoes, and it seemed to say a few words to you. Can you talk about, were you relieved, were you elated, and what did he say to you in that moment?
Honestly, I don't know what was going on in that moment. I really, I told myself, I was like, if I'm gonna win, I'm not gonna have any emotions. I'm not gonna cry, and I'm just gonna, be happy and have a straight face. But I ended up doing the opposite, which that was unexpected. But all the guys, I wanted all the guys to be dead because they're a part of it. They're one of the reasons why I was sitting there and getting that accomplishment. And James is, man, I don't even know where to start. I think since he been here, I think he won't tell me that, but I think he kind of made his goal for me to be the MVP. He's given up a lot, and he's, obviously I've always said it is the best playmaker I've ever played with, and he's the best playmaker probably in the NBA. So he's been helping me as far as, getting me easy opportunities, whether it's to score the ball or just be a better basketball player on and off the court. And he was just extremely happy for me, just like they all were, and that meant a lot for me. That meant a lot to me to know that your teammates care about you as much as I care about them.
Were there any reactions from the? It's been.
I love this dude. God damn.
Has there been a reaction from outside of your team that really resonated with you, whether it be from a guy like Luke or whoever, where you said, "Wow, I didn't expect to hear from, Tim Duncan or Hakeem or somebody like that"? Has there been a response that you've received that may open your eyes?
No, I mean, I just obviously my people, my friends. I haven't gone through my phone, and whenever I get the time, I'm gonna go through it all and make sure that I thank all of them. And also, I gotta thank all of you guys, for voting for me, and but I'm just I've just been overwhelmed with the love and how much people have been supporting me over the years. And like I said, if I go through the names, that we're gonna be sitting here a long time. But I'm just so appreciative of everything everybody has done for me, and the support they've given me over the years.
Joel, there are points early on in your career where some of your coaches, I'm thinking stories with Bill and Kevin specifically, where they would tell you you could accomplish things like this and you didn't believe them. Is there a specific point in your career or a period of time where you started believing that you belonged in a league and that you could accomplish things like this?
JJ Redick?
Yeah, I think the most memorable one is probably my first game. I know, before that, a lot of people were always telling me, you have, and it goes back to probably, I'll say college, when Coach Self used to tell me that I was going to be a #1 pick. You know, as for a kid like me, I was coming into college. I was supposed to be there for 4 years. I remember I wanted the red shirt and probably be there for 5 years because I just had no idea that I had the opportunity to go to the league. And he used to tell me, "You're going to be a #1 pick." And then I was like, man, I've always been told these coaches lie, and they're gonna tell you what you want to hear, and that's not what they believe in, and that ended up happening. And then obviously my coaches that I've had, whether it's Coach Brown, the Billy Lang, and so on, like all those guys, telling me about how good I could be. In the back of my mind, kind of believe it, but I didn't. But I believe it because I wanted to also push myself to kind of, not prove those people wrong, and to make sure that they can say that they were right when they said all those stuff. So, but when I first played my first bucket, I remember the turnaround fadeaway jumper. That's when I knew I was like, oh man, it's on. It's about to be scary for everybody else because
True.
it's just, I remember calling Drew after the game. I was like, damn, that was easy. My first game, I'm like, playing against Steven Adams, strong dude, and, these guys have been in the league for a long time, and well, that was, minute restrictions, 20-point. I was like, pretty easy. I was like, but got a long way to go. But that was probably when I knew that, yeah, I could do something special.
So, I mean, how much better does it feel getting this award? Coming off a win in Game 1. I mean, this is the first time, in your career you're going to go into Game 2. I think with a 1-0 lead and in the semis, your 3 wins from the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, that had to have been, much better than coming off a loss. And where's your mindset at now? And what do you think of this opportunity you guys have?
I told the guys yesterday we had
let's talk basketball. There we
about
go.
5 to 10 minutes to celebrate and then move on to Game 2. I think that's where I'm focused on, and that's where everybody's focused on. So Game 1 is over. It was a great win, but we understand one game at a time, and that was a great win, but we move on. Tonight is going to be a whole different game. They're going to come at us, and everybody's got to be ready to respond and then also punch back. So we focus on tonight, and
gotta be careful of rope-a-dope.
Like James was saying, this is like a Game 7. Like we have to find ways to try to win this game. We got to do whatever it takes, whatever is possible, to make sure we put ourselves in positions to win this game, and that's what the focus on. And tonight, we gonna do whatever it takes to make it happen.
And whether it's tonight or at some point in the future, are you confident that you're going to be back at some point and can make a difference in this series?
Yeah, I mean, at some point I'll come back and add what I can, and then obviously, be as 100% as I can be, but I'm sure I can make a difference. I'm just gonna have to figure it out where I can help, and that's gonna be the easy part, because we just know how to play with each other, with or without me. So it's gonna be easy to get back into it, and then for myself, just gotta let the game come to me. Whenever I come back, haven't really done anything, the last, 2 weeks. So I think the biggest game for me is, not pushing anything and just let the game come to me.
Just need you to be engaged every minute you're out there. Don't need 40 tonight, baby.
About how, I guess he had
Don't
a
need 40
conversation with
tonight.
you when he first got here about trying to get you to this level. Can you just kind of talk about those
Well, we might need
conversations
it,
and
but-
what he's done to kind of push you to get to this level?
Man, I remember the first conversation that we had when he got here was obviously it was about a bunch of things, but about basketball, I think he just wanted me to figure it out who I was and who I wanted to be, and obviously as we got deeper in the conversation, he started, kind of making me understand not to be who I think I am and who I think I should be, was to make sure I just knew, my spots on the floor and, where I wanted the ball and that I had to go and kind of perfect it and work on it over and over and over. And, that helped a lot. And then we went back and we looked at film. I always go back to, playoffs, earlier in my career where I was just a post player and it was easy to double and, it was easier to, harder to score. And we just looked at it and we figured out we were like, well, the better spot on the floor was, the nail and the elbows area, that, the mid-range. And so we started working on it, over and over and over. And I think that's one of the biggest things that he made me understand that, for me to be as successful as I want, I just got to find, the spots on the floor where I'm extremely comfortable and make a living out of it.
It's Joel.
Joel,
man, that's what I always said about Ben. Find 3 spots on the floor.
As a part of this group.
Always what I said about Ben.
Or Shake or Furkan, who you've been with forever.
Yeah.
Or PJ, who
just
came in this season. What about this specific team made it easier for you to win an MVP? And what excites you about this specific team moving forward?
That being, I think we just care about each other. We care about each other's success. We want everybody to be successful, and I think we also have a lot of veterans. And you got a right combination, and you got guys that understand that for everybody to be successful, you got to win. And to be able to win, everybody has to do their job, and they have to understand what the job is, and they got to go out and do it. I think that's the key. Obviously, adding PJ has been a huge part of it. Tyrese has taken another step. D-Melt has been great. I know Furk is not getting a lot. He's not getting a lot of minutes, but he's working hard to make sure that he's always ready. And I've been with him for a long time, so he can play. But it just so happens that coaches have to make decisions, and that's just the way it is sometimes. Shake, all those guys, Tobias, we've been through a lot. So I'm just happy that those guys are just able to go out and do something like they did game 1, and that's something that they can do every single night. So I just believe in them, and they know how much I care about them, how much I believe in them. So I'm just excited to just come back and whenever that is, and add whatever I can.
Thanks, Joel.
Thanks,
everybody.
MVP, baby. That is your MVP of the NBA, Joel Embiid. And again, having him back tonight, it's incredible. What are you guys' thoughts? We can do little reactions and head on out of here. Or, I guess we can keep talking. We can talk some Eagles. Again, I think we still got a show later tonight. But if you're here and you're talking now, let's do it. But again, what are your thoughts? I got a text from my brothers. And my youngest brother's I didn't even know he lost a brother. And I'm yeah, I was during the process years. Those were the dark, dark days for many different reasons. For Joel Embiid in particular, the injuries, his lost his brother. It was tough times. And it's great. Congratulations to the big man. That's what it's all about. And I wish there was a little bit more questions about tonight in the Celtics, to be honest with you, because that's just how I am. But it is about Embiid for this press conference. I got to remember, well-deserved and agree. Should have had at least one more last year. Yeah, so I don't hold a grudge necessarily about Jokic that first year because it was at least close. But last year was ridiculous that he did not win an MVP. Last year it was, and it feels like this year they lumped last year into it, and the NBA has a tendency to do that. This year, it felt as close. This year, it felt the same amount of, like, close as year one, where this year I probably wouldn't have thrown a fit, especially if he had won it last year. But this year, it felt like, all right, well, we screwed up last year. He really should have won it last year. It's close enough this year. We're going to give it to him. That's what it feels like to me. Not that he doesn't deserve it any less. It's just that, man, as an Embiid diehard, like many or all of you out there are, didn't we all think last year was the year of the year without Ben Simmons? You know, he did this shit on his own for the first half of the year. And look at his numbers. They were incredible. And again, I think the biggest part of Joel Embiid's game that people forget is his defense, because it's not there in the numbers like the offense is. I think they think that this guy is one-dimensional, probably because they're watching Joker be one-dimensional, and they're thinking it's the same for Embiid. But you saw against the Celtics in a win, his defense was missing. They were going to the rim and going hard at the rim. So, it's... side note, if the Sixers go to the finals and lose, I'm going to call conspiracy that they're all trying to... they're all trying to break the... I'm trying to think of what that break the soul, okay. I was trying to figure out what I knew it was a typo or an autocorrect error. As many times autocorrect is more... detrimental than beneficial at this point in technology. Yeah, I figured it. Like I said, I felt that it was a phone error. But yeah, I mean, well, you know, we just call conspiracy on anything we think isn't in our way or favor anymore, because there's no way that things could not go in the way that we intend. So if they don't, we just call conspiracy anyway, right? So yeah, that makes sense. Let's just... I can't and won't talk about the next step until we are there. But Joe Heston, Philly Sports in chat, he has theorized many times that potential in chat. It's... See, the thing... I guess I am going to talk a little bit. The thing about it with the Sixers is if they get to the finals, it's... Now, it'll hurt, but it's almost a win either way, just because I am so used and programmed to be beat in this series that we're currently in. I am so programmed as a Sixers fan to be like, well, here it goes again. It's the second round. So... It's still tough for me to get that far ahead. And, yeah, there you go. You're still in chat, Joe. So it's tough for me to get there, but let's get there. We won game one without Embiid. Now, if you get Embiid and a solid Embiid for at least 35 minutes tonight, I think that there's obviously a big chance that they can potentially take 2-0 against the Celtics. But again, it's the Celtics. Anything is possible. This team, I got to imagine that they're going to make the adjustments just as hard, if not harder, than we are. I'm sure they saw some things about how nobody on their team played off or defense throughout most of, if not all of that game. If the Celtics play even a little bit of defense and try to not just let Al Horford drape all over Harden, it's one thing the Sixers figured out, or James Harden, or the combination, figured out really early that Harden could get Horford whenever he wanted, because it's really easy to just run through a screen, you get the switch, and now you got the guy you want on you. Defenders don't really run through the screen anymore. They just bail out and they do the switch. So it was happening a lot for the Celtics where that would happen. Harden would get Horford and he said, I'm going to drag this sack of shit out to the 3-point line and just drop one on him. And that's what he did time after time after time again. And again, Al Horford, my least favorite NBA player. Fuck him. So yeah, it's You could say the same thing about the Sixers defense as well, and I did, and I have, and that's why I keep bringing up Joel Embiid's defense. I think and hope that with Joel Embiid being there, because look, for all that we want to say positive about B-Ball Paul, who, by the way, let's start with the positive, 4 for 4 incredibly clutch free throws in the fourth quarter of game 1. Let's start with the positive. The negative, look at the defense. He was bailing out or getting dunked on constantly. Embiid, that's why he's the MVP in my opinion, because he will certainly tie up the inside of that defense. But yeah, there was, it felt like I was watching an all-star game at times during game 1. It felt, I mean, that's why there were no fouls. There was no defense. It was weird. It felt like playoffs because of how much I was hanging on every play, but outside of that, it was like, it was all-star game level defense. I'm shocked if that's not the biggest adjustment. They can't keep switching Horford on Harding. Need to fight through the screen. Yeah, I'd imagine that's what Celtics coaching staff is drawing up. I hope not. But that's like the meta for the NBA nowadays. That's how teams play. And again, maybe you want to not do it in that one instance, but oh man, I hate Al Horford. I screamed so loud at that TV behind me when Harden made that 3, in particular because it was in front of Al Horford, who you guys know I never wanted him in Philly. And then he went and had good years after us. Oh, bleep that guy. He actually contested that shot pretty. But the thing is, Harden at that point in the game already knew how to get, he like had his vision line. And he knew that if he did that little bloop, 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 blah, 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 and then step back, he had it. And he was in rhythm all game, every time Horford was on him. So, yeah, it was, man. And credit to Harden, who obviously heard a lot of things, and you heard Joel Embiid give Harden credit. I think Harden, Murph, I think I said something along the same lines to you guys, like, Harden wanted Joel Embiid to win this MVP, and Embiid said, you know, he's never said it, but I think that he wanted me to win. That was one of Harden's goals, was to win Embiid an MVP. And you saw Harden last night say, I will take control of the game. And honestly, I think that's what you need. I've said this, I mean, time and time again. I think that the Sixers, in particular in fourth quarters of the game, need to start relying on James Harden more than Embiid. You can run the offense through Embiid for most of the game, but especially in like the waning minutes of the NBA, you start needing the outside game more, and that's where I want the flow of the offense to. If you're going to kick it to Embiid, get him in that post so that double is coming onto him. Like again, he mentioned in the press conference, get in that post so the double. I want the double to come onto you so you can kick it out. Now it's probably going to be to PJ Tucker. That's why PJ Tucker's got to start making these open corner threes. But you kick it out to the open man, and there's ways to draw it up so that it's Maxey, so that it's Harden too. If you throw it from the point, from the right spot, you're going to draw the right defender. So I think Harden and Maxey need to start becoming more and more, and you saw that last game in game 1. So it's now it just comes down to kind of tying this all together and working Embiid in, and I think Embiid is going to be the biggest factor as far as defense goes. I really like this team, but seeing what Butler is doing is just FOMO of what could have been. Jimmy Butler is I always say this every time he's brought up by anybody else, he's my favorite player in the NBA. He was my favorite player before he was a Sixer. I don't know that you have James Harden on this team, but the thought of having Butler, Harden, and Embiid together is, maybe you don't have Tobias, which I think we'd all be. Again, I'm not trying to knock Tobias, because if you look at his numbers, he's been giving you steady 20s. Tobias has been steady in most of his play, going back to at least last year. He's been steady in the playoffs. So I'm not here to bash Tobias, but thinking about 3 Hall of Famers it makes you hit the table a little bit, makes you fill the cup. And again, Jimmy Butler is my favorite player in the NBA. So it's hard. I love watching that series, man. It's rare for me to have like. I don't like a ton of NBA players that don't play for the Sixers. I'm kind of very, very heavily involved Sixers first. But I also really like Villanova. So you watch that series and you got Kyle Lowry on the Heat, Jimmy Butler, who obviously isn't Villanova, but I just said favorite player. Then you have on the other side Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson together, and I just teardrop. And I'm sitting there watching last night, and when Brunson hits 3, I'm like, yes! And I'm like, oh my God, this is the Knicks. Which, by the way, chat, I need a ruling. Is it okay? I'm not rooting for them like the Knicks, but I just... Jalen Brunson's my guy. And I obviously don't want them to beat the Sixers or anything, but it was just a gut reaction. I saw him, and I just, yes! Not loud, but I gave a fist bump. And, I love Jalen Brunson. And again, guys that got me a parade, man. I'm loyal to those guys. Josh Hart. To see those two together, but I hate the Knicks. I hate New York and seeing Aaron Rodgers is courtside. Like, oh, now you're gonna be a star in your waning years. But yeah, tonight we're gonna talk Sixers. We're gonna probably for the first half hour, give or take, we'll do some film study. I'm pretty sure I'll be solo again. If Keith's there, then it'll be different. If it's me, I'm going to pull some tape up. We'll go over some Eagles draft picks. In particular, some of the later ones that like we didn't go over draft night and things like that. But I really want to show. I really want to show you guys like what I think I see in. I'm forgetting his name now. The Stanford quarterback. Oh my God. Tanner McKee. And I'll give you just like a glimpse of what I'm seeing when I say I think, and again, I'm not trying to hype this draft pick up because Jalen Hurts is and always will be my guy. But when I first saw that the Eagles drafted a quarterback, and I got a little upset about it, and I was like, not this shit again. But upon further review, I'm not like completely against it. And here's why. And we'll just take like a quick little look-see-do. But if you just see, watch his, I'll go through a little bit. We'll do one player. But like, look, all right, first of all, where's he set? He's set in the shotgun. Read option. This is the same base set that Nick Foles constantly played in, right? Watch the footwork. Look at the ball. It's not the prettiest, but boom. Is it right on target? Yes. Footwork. Watch the footwork. It's Nick Foles. Back, finds the man, hits the man. Again, not pretty, but is it deadly accurate? Yes. Look at the wobble on this ball. Look at the wobble, but where is it? Right where it needs to be. Right where it needs to be. He's very much 1, 2, 3, get rid of the ball. 1, 2, 3, in everything I've been seeing. It's Nick Foles-esque. And what was Nick Foles? Nick Foles was a backup quarterback. The most interesting backup quarterback of all time. Look at all of these passes. Look at the angle. Look at the arm slide. If you were to describe, if I was go back and what was Nick Foles, especially back in college? Tall, lanky dude, deceitful athleticism, not fast, but because of his footwork, he made it work for him. And wonky delivery, but accurate, strong arm. So I think that this guy is going to learn behind Mariota for a year. It's sad. It's sad for me as an Eagles Marcus Mariota guy. I want him here as our backup for years. But I think Mariota is here to kind of help Hurts, and now help Tanner McKee. Look at this. Come on. I'm not trying to overhype this pick. I'm not sitting here saying he's the next, oh, they stole this guy, he's going to be the starter. But it's for me, what I see is the decision making. Watch how fast he got the ball here. Felt the pressure, gets rid of it, and it's right where it needs to be. Right where it needs to be. Watch how fast he gets rid of the ball. As soon as someone gets near him, that's against UCLA. That's a good defense. This is still against UCLA. And he throws up the jump ball. What? Didn't that look like Nick Foles to Alshon Jeffrey? Did that not look like Nick Foles to Alshon Jeffrey? So I hate to invoke the name of Nick Foles because I know what it does to Philadelphians. But in my opinion, that's the comp I see. Nick Foles was drafted in, what, 3rd round? This is a 5th round pick. I think that it didn't go right through the receiver's hands. True. Again, I realize what bringing up that name does, but I just look at 1, 2, 3, drop, and then there's what I'm talking about. He's not fast, but his footwork makes him athletic. It's pretty wild to me. So we'll go through some of that and some of the other picks tonight as well. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, if Eagles fans see what I see in that pick, there's going to be conspiracies going on. But when I did my research on this guy, or started to do my research, it was with the intent to roast Howie Roseman. But that's why you don't just react to a draft pick. You got to kind of, and if you know the guy, then by all means react. But I didn't know who he was, so I kind of just was like, all right, let me at least see the tape. Let's look at him. I was hoping for wheels. He doesn't have wheels, but this is kind of, it's a safe potential backup for the future. And with the Hurts contract, it's Howie Roseman. It's what Roseman wanted to do with Jalen Hurts. He thought he was just getting a cheap backup, which that's not the case with a 2nd round pick. You ended up getting, or was it 3rd? I forget at this point. You ended up getting really lucky that Jalen Hurts had that dog in him and just was the guy. But I see this as being, all right, well, we don't want to just keep bringing in whatever backup we can year in and year out and have to pay them whatever cap money we can afford year in and year out. They want stability at the quarterback position. So, again, while I really wanted to roast the pick, right now, I don't say it. I want a thrower as a backup, not a runner. Fair. I want production in whatever way you can get it. And this guy, to your point, looks more Minshew, Foles-esque than like a Tyrod Taylor-esque backup. Yeah. Or even Marcus Mariota. So for backups, I just want a tool to work with. So like, especially we're talking 3rd string for now. Might move into the 2nd string by next year. We'll see. But as far as that goes, I just want like a tool. So if it's speed, it's like, all right, well, I'll make some gimmicks, and if I have to run an offense with a 3rd stringer, well, that will be it. But going back to, he's not here to be a 3rd stringer. He's here to be, a backup in, I would say 2 years latest. Yeah, that's what you want. You just want someone that can come in and be efficient. And again, that's all I see in this guy is it reeks of efficiency and it reeks of quality backup. Just look at everything he does. He's just taking, in and out of his hands. It's like he gets that ball and it's fire. It's fire in and out of his hands. So this is against a ranked defense for whatever it's worth. That's more of a play that the running back made. But again, it's just in and out, in and out, in and out. Watch every play. This is against my boys at Oregon. Feels that pressure, gets it out. Sure, it's the check down. Foles did that plenty of times, didn't he? That's what you get out of backup quarterbacks. That's fine. What you don't want out of backup quarterbacks, and to your point with the runner versus thrower, runners tend to be maybe a little more turnover prone. It doesn't look like you get that here. It doesn't look like you get. Now, we'll see what happens when he's got NFL defense. But again, that's Notre Dame, Arizona State. Like, these aren't terrible teams that he's doing against. So, Tanner McKee Super Bowl. I'm not here to cause any of that. You know that. I'm not here to. That's why I thought about comping him to Minshew more, but Minshew has more athleticism than both Foles or I think Tanner McKee. Minshew is like kind of a step below Mariota as far as, well, I would say throwing and running, but he's like not quite upper echelon athleticism, but like he's got white boy moves. So yeah, you know, it'll be, like I said, that'll be, we'll go over that a little less in depth now that we really talked a lot about specifically Tanner McKee. But I want to talk about Minshew blows. Hey man, it's a backup. It's a backup. He wore number 10. I hate that our punter is wearing number 10 now. He went from 8, which he didn't deserve 8 because now Mariota's getting it. But shouldn't we make punters wear like 45? I think the NFL should make it a rule that all punters wear number 00 because you just make people sad. You come in, you're the only person on the team no one on your team wants to ever see. I have a Phillies game to recap later as well. We might squeak in a little bit of Phillies talk, mainly because Bryce is back. But we're not going to talk about last night's game. We're trying to forget about the last 2 games as quick as possible. And again, it's you got to remember tonight's show is a Sixers pregame. So in particular, when it gets to like 7:30ish, 7:40 for sure, I'm going to just like cut it and we'll go right into Sixers mode. But I'm going to like probably open it up with a little Joel Embiid congratulations. Then we'll kind of kick it into, the Phillies are at 4 today. That's right. My bad, Joe. Good catch. So yeah, we'll talk about that. A matter of fact, now that there's a pitch clock, it'll probably be going on like post game. In fact, if I know I'm going solo, depending on where the timing is, maybe I'll just hit it right. We'll go Phillies postgame into Sixers pregame. I know tonight is a order out night. I don't gotta cook, so tonight it's just the focus is just to create content right now, and that's why we're here right now. And I really appreciate you guys all tuning in. I did not expect to see as many faces and even some of the casual. Like I love it. That'll make me go live a little more often too, especially if there's news like this while I'm home. So with that, guys, it's been an hour and a half. I didn't think I'd be here that long. I thought I'd be here a half hour, but y'all kept the alacrity going. So here I am doing everything I can. No, I'm not going to start singing Goldfinger. We're not doing that, but I might put it on right after the show. Guys, get down with some. I might even just play Tony Hawk for a hot second just to get one run through of the soundtrack. Ooh, it's kind of calling. If you see me back on in about a half hour streaming Tony Hawk, will you guys join? As a fan who attends many games, I love it. I agree. My favorite part of the pitch clock is going to games so far. There's not that you look up and you're like, I've been here 2 hours. It's the 4th inning. It gets rid of that mid-game lull. I would like to see it extended. Like when the ump goes like this, can we get 25 seconds instead of 18? Can we get 22 seconds? It's still a little too fast, but I'm for it. As a fan, I'm for it. As a player, I understand why these guys hate it. You saw Bryce Harper, third at bat last night. He took his timeout before there was a pitch thrown. And that might have to be his approach. It might be his new routine, is because he's got that whole thing he does. He might have to call timeout every at bat to get that in, and then now he works through it during the pitch sequence. I'd extend it for playoffs. That's a really, really good point, Nick. Similar to how, like, you know, rules do get different in the playoffs. No shootout in hockey. Yeah, that's no invisible man on second. That's a really, really good point. Extended for playoffs at least. And who knows? Maybe at All-Star break they go. I don't really know if it's something they're even planning on talking about. I don't know, but we'll see. We're gonna talk all about that later on tonight. I'm hungry. It's time to go get some lunch, guys. Thank you all for tuning in, both live and if this show's allowed on demand. We'll see. With it being a lot of YouTube content, I don't know if I'll be allowed, but yeah. If not, you guys are the real MVPs for tuning in today live in the middle of an afternoon show. I appreciate it. Oh, and we got a subscriber too. How about that? Thanks, Rob. I mean, I don't got the notification, but I didn't see that you were a subscriber in chat, and now I do. So I didn't get the notification, but thank you if I'm missing it. I wonder why that hasn't been working for me. But yeah, I appreciate the sub if you dropped it during this show. Again, I didn't get the notification, but I really appreciate that, especially now more than ever, as this is my job, or at least I'm trying to treat it like it for a little bit. So with that, thank you guys all for tuning in, both live and on demand. I am Anthony Pinto, and we will be back tonight pre-game for the Sixers. Until then, we are out of here.